Okay, so you're going to open clockbellstart.max from the shared resources file. Now you do need to make sure that in your images file folder, all, was it 7 images, the bell, the handle, all of those are in there so the computer knows where to find it. That's where it's looking. You're going to open the file and you're going to look, it's going to look like this. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go File, you're going to Save As. Okay, in this case, you're going to save as clock. You're just going to save it as clock handle. I already have one that's kind of finished, so I'm going to save it as handle page 43 so I know what I'm doing. Okay. Then you're going to do another shape. So the Create tab, okay, Shapes, which is here. And again, we want another line, just like we did for the handle. Now we're going to try something different. We're going to go right in the middle. So we're going to figure out where the top is. Here, click. Now we're going to get right about in the middle of this curve. We're going to click and drag. Oop, wrong button. I clicked the right mouse button. So click, left mouse button, click and drag. And you try to get about the right shape. And then let go. And then left click at the bottom, right click to end. Okay. Now, modify mine. This needs to move a little bit. I need to drag this one down because we need to expand past the bottom a little bit because from the picture we're perspective. If you notice the top here, I really need to match the bottom there approximately so I get the full thing. Okay. Now, if this looks a little off, I'm going to drop mine down. Actually, Control Z, leave that where it is. I'm actually going to move this one up a little bit. That looks a bit better. Okay. Alright, now in the Modify panel, we're going to choose Lathe from our modifier list. So with the line, so we're going to go Modifier list. And Lathe, these are alphabetical, so we're looking for Lathe. Okay. You're going to click on it. Oops. Okay. So open the lathe parameters, and in the align area, we're going to go minimum. That looks a lot better. To finish the bell, create a cylinder to represent the base post, then create another cylinder to represent a bolt above the bell. Okay. So I'm going to make a create shapes. I want a cylinder, and we're going to just make a cylinder that's about this big. Now what I'm going to do is in the top viewport, we're going to make one about like that, and we're going to move it up like that. And we're going to make a second one that's a little bit smaller than the first one, and like that. Now if you notice, we need to move them, so we'll go select and move, and I'm just going to move them such that they're in the right place. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to move it right on top. Try to center it up. We could use the create and put it at 0, 0. And then here, put it there. We're going to move this one up. Line it up as well. Now obviously these are, whoops, that's supposed to be a sphere, isn't it? It's alright, just hit the delete button. Bam, he's gone. A little sphere. Move it. And sink it down on top. Now, if I were just to look at this left viewport, I'd be like, oh, that's right where it needs to be. If I go to the top viewport, I realize it's not where it needs to be at all. Zoom in, makes your life easier. You can even go shaded here. So we'll line it up. Okay, now this one really needs to get smaller. But what I could do is, because I'm not going to see it, I have the option. I could sync it, because if we go and look in here, this isn't hollow. Oh, sorry, it is hollow. It's not, but we're not going to see that end of it. So it depends if you want to see it or not. If you would rather shrink your cylinder here, you can. But for now, it's whatever. And if you want to make it, more of a silvery color, you could, just so it looks a little more like it. All right, so now we need to group these, okay? So move and rotate, placement, leave a gap where the handle goes, page 45. Select all the pieces, including the bell object. It needs to be oriented so it fits in the clock body, so it needs to be rotated. But we need to rotate the whole thing. It's going to be really annoying to make it such that it's, we want to rotate one at a time. All right. Now, if you notice what they've done, and the diagram is really hard to read, but I can change my sides, and now I've got corners. So once you have the right size cylinder, you can just change the number of sides to make it look more like a nut head on a bolt. Okay. So main toolbar, I have group. So I want to have everything selected. So I have that, control, control. I got all three, and notice I've got 3 objects selected here. And if I go here, I can see that I've got those 3 clicked, my sphere, my line, and my cylinder. I'm going to go to group, and the option of grouping them. Okay, now I need to give it a name. So we're going to call it bell, because all of this is the bell. Okay. Now, under this, you would want to give these useful names. You can change those. It doesn't say anything. We'll come up with some good names. So then we need to make the numbers and the hands.